Let's start here. Nick Kieffer, I know you as a Utica Yeti, but you're also one of the founders of Bang City and the Utica Yeti. Paul gives you a lot of credit for all the work you put in. But you are playing everywhere right now. I mean, you are all over the place. You guys are in Nashville. You were just down in New Jersey.
Yeah, we try to travel as much as we can without trying to break the bank. But we did travel internationally this year. That was pretty cool. Went to Prague, Czech Republic, played in a tournament over there, and I highly recommend the city itself, even if you're not just going to play lacrosse. It was a wild time.
Yeah, that must have been awesome. So, what is that over there? How did you guys end up what's the story? How did box lacrosse even end up in Prague? Do you know?
Um, so I had been following. It's called the Lazabreski Memorial Tournament. I've been following that for a while now, and I never realized, but they about 5 years ago they started a Frank Menschner Cup, which is another memorial for a player that was big in the Lazabreski that passed away. Um, so I had been following that, and I had always wanted to go. And with Bank City arising and me starting back, I was like, I got to get over there. And I know a lot of people that I played with wanted to get over there, and so with that opportunity to play in the Frank Menster Cup, we had to take the chance. Box lacrosse over there, it's probably been going. It's what they know. They don't play field over there. They don't play your normal field. The box lacrosse is what they know. So these guys, they had a children's exhibition match going on during the tournament, and it was one of the coolest things. These kids have some stick skills that you would not believe. So it was awesome watching these kids behind the back shots and at 5, 6 years old. And it's amazing to see. I've always preferred box over field. So it's amazing to see how they start in box rather than field lacrosse like I did.
Yeah, the Canadians do that as well. I think it gives them such a huge advantage, and most of the kids on the reservations they do the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really are at a disadvantage coming from field. So when did you start playing field lacrosse?
So I started playing field lacrosse when I was in third grade. I can remember it. I was at uh, t-ball practice when I was in school, and my mom was like, they just started a lacrosse program. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go try that rather than. I've always been into physical sports. I played football and hockey growing up, and now you brought in the lacrosse. I had to jump on that train. So I've been playing a long time.
Yeah. Now, where are you from? Are you from?
I'm right from Rome.
Oh, gotcha. So you're born and bred in Rome. You've been a
Yeah,
Tri-City player forever then, and
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's a huge advantage. I didn't even know what it was until 10th grade, and I used to run track just to stay in shape for hockey. I was a pole vaulter, so I would just do the sprints. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, when I was varsity track in ninth grade, so it was my first time at the high school, really, and watching all of a sudden I saw all these guys come running out with helmets and sticks in their hands, and I was like, I want to play that. I don't even care what it's called. I see what they're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah, I was just like, that looks like fun. And
Just the appeal of it sells.
yeah, especially to us hockey players, you see it and you get like a basic understanding of the body positioning, and that's why I think box makes so much more sense. I wish we had more box youth leagues. A lot of that's starting to happen now, but
It's impeccable to see how well the your skills grow playing box going to field. I highly recommend it. I mean, in this last one we had when we went to New Jersey, we picked up a couple of players from a local college, and to see them from the beginning of the tournament to the end of the tournament improve on just their defensive skills was amazing. And that was, I mean, that's just throwing them into the wolves. They've never touched a floor for box lacrosse, and they jumped right into it. So it's pretty cool.
yeah, that's pretty impressive. It definitely I think is a lot harder to go from field to box as opposed to vice versa. I talked to Marshall Powlis the other day. He uh he was saying he's like I only played field a couple times. It wasn't for me, and like
Hmm.
you can see it out there. Like watching him play for the Basin Bombers. Yeah, what was it like for you to get to play against some of those guys? I mean, that must have been amazing. And not only did you get to play because of the Yeti, but you, with what you do for Bank City, you enabled probably how many guys did you end up with? 20 guys?
We had Bang City at 20 guys.
Yeah, so you enabled 20 people to be able to play against some of the world's like best players. Like that's awesome. Good on you. I mean, they must. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it was cool to be able to play against them. Just to be able to step on the floor and to share the floor time with them is always an experience. And it didn't matter. I always enjoy just stepping on the floor. It don't matter if I'm playing teams that are developing or teams that are top notch and top skill with NIL players. It's always an experience with us, and that kind of was our big point and our stamp with the Bang City is we always just want to grow the game. So that's why we always try to bring people as many people as we can. I mean, we're already up to 80 players in Bang City all across the U.S. and even in Poland, we have 3 players from Poland. So
Wow, that's impressive. So Bang City is, if you don't mind, just take a few minutes and explain basically how Bang City started versus like the Yeti, because originally it was essentially one team, and now it's definitely morphed into its own program, kind of.
yeah, so last year with the previous league we were part of, we weren't allowed to go off to tournaments on our own and under our own name as Utica Yeti. The league had claimed that they had owned the name, so we weren't allowed to do that. So we wanted to still continue playing once the season was over with. So we had thrown some names around, and we decided Bang City was kind of what we wanted. We wanted to make where we were going Bang City. It was what we had stood by. So we had just started out as just Utica Yeti guys. We went down to Philadelphia and played there with our Tri City jerseys that weigh 100 pounds. Um, and it kind of just flourished from there. Once our following tournament, we went to Detroit, was our first year tournament. We had debuted the jerseys, the one that you're wearing right now. And it just flourished from there. Everybody wanted to be part of it. And I'm more than willing to let anybody and anyone be part of the program. So it's just flourished as each tournament goes on. More and more people hit my I've got a player interest form, and more people always fill it out, and they just want to play, and I want them to play.
Yeah, that's one awesome thing is like you guys I talked to Jobson and he was saying he didn't originally make the Eddie team, but the whole way you guys do it over there where you're really focused on yeah, you didn't make the team, but come to the practices or basically your open floor nights where you're like, we want you, you make everybody feel welcomed and then the next thing you know, he's playing awesome. Now he's actually got a chance at a combine. I mean, yeah, the way you guys are doing it definitely seems to be. I mean, if you look at where that program has gone, you consider your you guys started in an area that didn't have a lot of box lacrosse. Was that your first time ever playing box? Really, was the original Yeti team?
No, I played in Buffalo. I played in the Can-Am for 3 years when I was out in Buffalo.
Okay, that makes some sense because you seem to have pretty good understanding of kind of how the floor. It's cool to watch the different styles. Like your style of I'm just going to drive into you and I'm going to one of my favorite plays is when you score. I don't even remember what game it was. And then you reach over and you like thank the defender for the screen. It's
Yeah,
just that's
I'm. I've always loved the physicality of box lacrosse. I mean, I'm a bigger guy, so the whole field concept of having to run up and down the floor wasn't my greatest asset. So box lacrosse is nice. I can do my 30-second runs, and then I can get off.
yeah.
So
It's like one of my favorite moves though, just to kind of like prove that you're not just the big guy was you run through and you dive across the crease in the one, but it's just like a total show of basically what you're doing where you like blast through the guy, you're just like I'm gonna run over you and you just kind of get underneath him and dive across the crease and you pissed everybody off in the process too, which is something you're pretty good at doing.
yeah, I'm pretty good at that. I get halfway through the dive and I'm like, I'm a big guy and I probably shouldn't be doing this because as I land, I'm like, that's a lot of weight landing. I learned that last year in Albany, where kind of hurt my back for a couple of games, but I still keep on doing it.
Yeah, no, it's all heart and emotion out there. And actually, one of the pictures I was debating using as the background picture here is like you're one of those guys you get under everybody's skin, but it's a picture of you grabbing one of the guys from the back of the jersey. I think it's Suits, might not be.
Nick's
Yeah,
suits. That's probably one of my favorite photos we have. I absolutely love it because
yeah.
normally it's me running my mouth, and that time I had to be the captain. I was, and
You say that, but like also if you watch the end of the Northeast playoff game, you like Lewis does a good job of like not losing his cool and doing anything crazy, but like you make sure nobody else gets involved and the maturity of some of you guys really showed instead of that could have gotten chaotic really fast, and instead you guys. So that's why you kind of yes, you do like to run your mouth and get under their skin and stuff, but you walk that line pretty well. You don't spend a lot of time in the penalty box. You're not getting a lot of retaliation penalties. It's not really your style, but it definitely. I'm not gonna say it's not known to happen, but it's not something you do a lot of.
I've done a 180 from last year. Last year I spent quite a few minutes in the penalty box. This year I kind of learned to get my cool and everything like that. I definitely walk that line very well, but when I know it's time to relax and we need to do the things we need to do and play our game, that's kind of what I like to be out there for. I'm not one of the greatest players out there, but I can be an asset no matter what.
Yeah. I love it because as I've been talking to so many of these guys that your teammates essentially, that's what everybody says. They're like Kieffer's just the banger. Like he's going down on offense, and either he's going to drive, and you force the defense to account for like when you charge in, you're not always necessarily looking for the shot, but if they don't slide to cover you,
Yeah,
a good percentage of the time you're pushing that guy back through the crease. It's definitely it makes for a fan friendly game too as far as your style because you're just
yeah,
like smash bowling into people and it's like well I'm gonna try to run you over and we'll see what happens. Sometimes you go through and you'll go through like two or three guys and you still have the ball afterwards. It's like how did he even do? I'll hear Paul screaming pass the ball. It's like well what do you expect him to do right now? He's already too far gone into it. It's like
yeah, yeah. Sometimes I realize it, and then I'm like, well, at this point, I might as well just keep going.
yeah that happens sometimes. So you played for Can-Am. What team were you playing for in the Can-Am?
So I played for Buffalo Creek Thunder when I was playing in Buffalo. My I played at Hilbert College for field, and my sports or my conditioning coach had played for them at the time, so he kind of got me into the step, and that's kind of where my box career began. Was with Buff Creek Thunder. It was a great organization. We our record didn't really show it, but the team was awesome. The stuff that was done after games, before games was just an amazing experience. And that's kind of how I learned, and that's why I love Utica Yeti, because what we do before and after games is also huge. We are we're a family. Don't mind my dog.
Yeah. So
uh, we're a family on the floor and off the floor. We always do some stuff together, as rather if it's go out drinking or we're playing lacrosse or we're going to do the youth program. We're always together.
yeah, and that's something that's huge, especially like you talked about the afterwards drinking thing is like yes, you are kind of going out drinking, but even it's just a blast. Like everybody goes out and you're eating and there's people that hang out and it's a good time the way you guys do it. And like you said, I can't wait to see the growth of this program in like 5 to 10 years as those kids really start to once that youth program grows, you're gonna see some crazy experience with that. So how you played 3 years in Can-Am. How old are you
Yep.
now?
I'm 30. I'll be 31 in January.
All right, so you still got a few years to get
Yeah.
after it.
I hope to be playing until I physically can't hold the stick anymore. I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, you definitely are spending you're doing one of the biggest things which is making sure that you guys get on the floor as often as possible. I mean, how many tournaments you played in just since Laxnai?
Since Laxnai, we did just New Jersey. So after the Yeti season, we've done Prague, Laxnai, New Jersey. We're going to be doing Nashville next. We have there's an Allegheny fall ball tournament. We're kind of a hodgepodge Utica Yeti team. We're going to be actually wearing or hodgepodge Bang City team. We're actually going to be wearing the black Yeti jerseys though for the tournament. And then we are doing Delaware in February and Boston in April.
That's awesome. Now, do you know if any of these guys are streaming any of them? They probably don't.
So Nashville was supposed to, but he claims that I don't say he claims. He says the bandwidth wasn't strong enough to be able to support streaming for it. Wilmington is supposed to. They were supposed to last year, but they had some technical difficulties. That Forge events, I don't know if or Forge Lacrosse or Forge.
Yeah, I don't
They're the
know.
ones. They're ones running running that, and then Same with the Boston one. The Boston one's a new tournament, so we're gonna see how that goes. But the Wilmington one was pretty cool. It's in the Chase Fieldhouse, and it was just this monstrous field house that they put some boards up in and let you play.
Oh, that's cool. Those got to be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Murphy actually traveled down with us last year and took some photos of that tournament.
Yeah,
That was
Murph.
a good tournament.
Yeah, Murph's awesome. It's cool that you guys play so much. And I was just talking to that Rodney Red Eye last night, and he's a character. We're gonna start talking more, me, him, and Paul, I think, and kind of catching everybody up on what's going on with all these tournaments. So that he was just telling me about that tournament that happens up in Allegheny. He said that used to be a huge tournament. It's just been canceled for the last 3 years, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
COVID kind of screwed a lot of things up. I mean, I played in it previously with a team called Bucktown. I played in it before, and I could just remember it was the whole community center was packed. It was just absolutely mobbed. So I mean, COVID kind of screwed a lot of things up. We're hoping a lot of these like tournaments can start popping back up where you can consistently know that you're gonna get a lot of people there. It's a great tournament though. Any tournament in general is just the fact that a chance for me to keep playing is always a great experience for me.
Yeah, it's fun to yeah, I wish I could get out there. Who is running that tournament in Allegheny? Do you know? Is it the Arrows?
It's probably just a community center in general, just running it.
That's cool. Because that's I love there's so many of these like tournaments that pop up like that one in Nashville's run by what Bear Paw Lax. That's all those
Yep.
guys do is lacrosse tournaments essentially.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool that there's so many of these things that are starting to happen. That New Year tournament out in um when is that? That's in January, I think. You guys know anything about that?
Which tournament?
It's got a New Year tournament they do on the reservation.
No.
So that's I want to say it's Martin Luther King weekend. I'm not sure who's organizing it. Somebody called me to stream it, so I'm pretty sure
Oh,
we're gonna be out there recording it. If we can get fast enough internet, we're gonna stream it. If not, we're gonna do just record all the games and then
yeah.
stream them as soon as we can plug into the internet.
No, it's a tournament I'm gonna have to find out.
Yeah, I'm hoping. That's why one of the things I like most about this little podcast thing I've been doing is we get to like really talk to a bunch of guys and everybody kind of is like spreading things out and you're getting more and more like, oh, all right, yeah, well, maybe we'll throw together a team for this or maybe I can get
Yeah.
a hold of this guy to get on a team.
That's the biggest thing is just getting it out there is the biggest thing right there because box across world is such a small world, and once you get the right connections, you know everybody, and it grows like a wildfire. It's so impressive on how far seeing some of like these teams that have just developed last year or whatever, just seeing how far they've come already is impressive.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that is due to work to guys like you, Paul, that really spend. I mean, it's a lot of hours figuring the logistics in this and trying to organize people to make sure you've got enough guys for the team. Sounds like you don't have much of an issue anymore filling out your roster, but
It depends. I mean, Prague got a little scary at one point, so we started with 18 guys and ended up with 10 guys. But thankfully, I had some Poland guys that wanted to play, some awesome Poland guys. So we ended up with 13 runners. But yeah, but we're all lacrosse players. We know how we are.
yeah, well, Prague's a little, I mean, that's a little bit more of an expensive trip. Now,
Yeah.
the Poland team that they had at Laxny, was that one of the, did you play against any of those guys? Did you play with any?
One of them, Christoph, he actually played with the Tri City youth team, the U18 team. He played with us over in Prague.
That must
Yeah.
have been awesome.
Chris, it was cool seeing him. I'm walking to the parking lot. I'm like, I didn't expect to really see him because I figured it was just like a stateside Poland team.
Yeah.
But I guess there was actually a handful of Polish nationals there.
Yeah, it's that was a crazy tournament. I had never seen anything like it with just so many tournament teams for men's league. Just all of a
Yeah,
sudden we're bang and 20, what was it, 22 teams, and I mean some
yeah,
of those teams were unbelievably good. Like the amount of lacrosse, the and what really amazed me was that freaking U18 game that I got to film the championship. Wow,
yeah,
those guys are unbelievable.
yeah. It's awesome to see how much skills on that floor at that age. I
Yeah,
wish I had that opportunity. Like just seeing it, I love it that they have all that opportunity and the resources that they have. But I wish I had that at that age.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. And that's something that it's nice to see you guys are running the youth organization. How is that going? You guys start here pretty soon with the turf getting into the Nexus Centers now open, right?
Yep, the next center's now open. We're just waiting for the turf to hit the floor, and then we plan on having our youth program on Sundays, and we're gonna start with that 3 different groups. So it's gonna be nice.
Yeah. You guys have a bunch of kids signed up or decent number it looks like or
Yeah, we have good numbers. When we ran our program last time, we had about 60 kids there. So there was a lot of kids,
yeah.
a lot of yelling, a lot of balls flying. But you know what? I wouldn't change it. I thoroughly enjoy working with kids. Like I absolutely love it. You you just see the glow in their eye when you come out with your Yeti gear on and your Yeti helmet on, and they just eat it up. And it's so cool, Bill, to knowing that I'm able to help them. We're able to help them grow their game and everything like that.
Yeah, it's really cool. I can't wait to see how it plays out. We're gonna go out and film the little 1 day tournament you guys are doing, I think. I gotta get a hold of Paul to make sure we got the dates. But there's like a 1 day tournament in December, I think they're talking about doing for the
Yep.
kids. So yeah, we're gonna try to stream that through the odd. Hopefully that'll go off without a hitch and yeah, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see, like I said, the biggest thing I think is going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, how those, because you got some, like your 15-year-olds you'll see pretty quick, but like the kids that
Yeah.
you're really going to see where you start to see that, the level that you get from the native community and the Canadian community is going to be, 10 years from now, once you start getting your 10-year-olds up into like 18, 19, 20.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, the 15-year-olds, they got 3 years and they can technically be on the Yeti team. At 18 years old, they can start signing up.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Leota, he's one of those young
Yeah,
guys.
he is, and it's awesome. I mean, he's coming down with Nashville with us. He's 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 a player that took it very quickly, and he is a force to be reckoned with when he's out there. He is an awesome player on that floor.
Yeah, he's got to try out for one of the PBLA teams, I guess. I'm pumped. I hope he makes it.
Yeah.
He offered me to go in the RV to Nashville, and if originally that guy had gotten a hold of me, I probably would have been on the trip. But when he
Yeah.
didn't, I ended up making plans. I got to take a tree down on Saturday with I supervise. I just bring the equipment from when I used to be able to actually do it. So I
Yeah.
just messed with my little brother, and I'm like, get out there. But
Yeah.
so otherwise, I would have loved to have gone. I love how they rented an RV to drive out there. That's going to be a blast.
It's impressive. That's a long drive. I thought about it. I was all gun ho driving. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna drive it. And then we drove to Columbus, and I'm like, I'm not doing this again. And that was only 9 hours.
Yeah, yeah. We drove with both kids, and we're about 2 hours farther than you. And we break up the trip a lot. We do driving a lot. We're used to spending time in the car, so it's not a big
I
deal
mean,
for us.
yeah, it was. I had my 2 kids in the back. I had Blaine and Suits in the back. So it was a long trip.
Those two are hysterical. I love when you get Blaine, when you get him going, he is one of the funniest freaking
Yeah,
kids. Yeah, he's awesome.
Suits is just Suits.
Yeah,
He's a child at heart.
yeah,
I love him. And and on the floor, he's just awesome. You know, he's a great player. He's an athletic player. Can have his hissy fits, but you know what? At the end of the day, as long as he's pumping the goals in.
yeah. Nobody cares. It sucks that he got kind of dinged up there because he was off to a pretty good tear at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I feel like he's always hurt, but he plays through most of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But when you have him healthy, you got to watch out.
Oh
When
yeah.
he's fully healthy, that one game maybe he's great. You know, he plays his heart out. You could tell that he wants to play, and you could just see it in his eyes.
Yeah, he's got a smoothness to him that's like he's very slick and smooth. It's that finesse style, like he's really good at it. Versus Blaine has that like I'm just gonna jump through you. Like he
Yeah.
flies forever. His legs must be so damn strong. His he can jump freaking huge, and when he blows into people, he's a pretty young kid too, isn't he?
I think Blaine's about my age. I think maybe a year younger.
Right, but this so he's just newer to playing box lacrosse.
Correct.
Gotcha.
You should see him on the field and field lacrosse. It's ungodly.
I can
He's
imagine.
been on my field team since I came back from college, and he's just ungodly out there. It's impressive. And then when we had Austin Curtis, those two together were phenomenal on the field.
Yeah, I'm guessing you play attack and field too?
I do face off. I'm a
Really?
fogo. Yep. Yeah.
I find it hilarious to find out what guys do in field lacrosse because somebody told me, Chuck, I'm actually talking to Charlie Risaccia tonight. He's a field goalie.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad he
He's a
didn't end
field
up
goal.
playing goal for you guys. I think that would have
Yeah.
been.
He originally tried out as a goalie and started last year as a goalie. And when we had some banged up guys and we needed some bodies, and he's got a big body, and boy, he can't even move.
Yeah,
So we transitioned him to defense, and it was probably one of the greatest decisions that they had made.
yeah,
I think it was hindering him being in net.
yeah. Definitely. Like I said, I think it would have been a shame to let him sit there. I love watching him play. Now, what do you think? Now, I wasn't around for the first year. How, like, give me a rundown of basically how the first year played out when you guys started this team. Like, it was just kind of like everybody was like, "Hey, let's do this," and off to the races.
So I got talking to Paul, and one day in box lacrosse had kind of got brought up in the conversation, and he just had this smirk on his face that he had like a kid in Christmas when you see the lights come on, and he had mentioned the idea of what he had in motion, this 2 year long motion that he had gone through to get the Utica Yeti. The previous year COVID kind of screwed up things, so last year he was explaining to me what was going on and what he had plans and everything like that. And I absolutely loved it because when I left Buffalo, I had no connection to box lacrosse at all. I had field lacrosse, and I COVID screwed up a lot of things, and we had no lacrosse around for a whole year. And I mean, me personally, lacrosse is my outlet for things. So I kind of got in a bad place for a little bit when I had no lacrosse. And I mean, I still had my family and everything, but with no lacrosse, to have that one place to go when you need to just let a little steam off, kind of put me in a bad place. So once I had heard that Paul's gonna be doing some box lacrosse, I was like, oh my god, I need to get involved in this as soon as possible. So I kind of we started doing pickup again and trying to get the interest out there, and we had a nice showing at our first tryout. I think we had 50 guys try out, 40 guys try out. We had guys from all over the place, and it was awesome to see the interest level. I mean, we had guys from Canada, we had some Buffalo guys, we had Binghamton, Syracuse, we had everywhere. We touched every region in New York at that point for that tryout, and to see all these guys want to be part of this program was the coolest thing ever. And obviously, we had to make some cuts that year, and you didn't really want to see that, but we try to keep them around. But obviously, it's tough for somebody from Buffalo say tell them, well, you can come to practice and be on the practice squad for right now. So that's tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, just seeing the program grow from that. I mean, we went from losing to Syracuse every game last year by a goal or so to finally actually beating them and taking over the region this year. So it was really, you can see the 180 how we went, and the additional, lost some players like Nate Farrell as our faceoff guy, but we still got Nicky Farrell back. And Austin Curtis was a loss. I mean, his defensive skill was something we could really use on the defensive end. But we gained some guys like Peter Leota. Tyler Baker was another one we lost. Tyler Baker and Peter Leota are like the same person. They're both very physical people, and they took box lacrosse very well, and they learned very quickly. So they're like one and the same person. It's awesome. It's gonna be cool seeing them in Nashville. They're both gonna be playing together, so it's gonna be cool to see it, have them both on the floor at the same time. But yeah, the Yeti have grown, and just to see all the interest of from just the youth to the parents to anybody that wants to be involved, it grows, and it's awesome to see how much it's grown in over 2 years now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think like when this started, and especially so when I talked to the Rodney Red Eye last night, he said he was willing to drive 3.5 hours just because it was somebody who was willing to put it on, and like you
Yeah.
guys are such a family, and that's what he said. Like even when you lost in that championship game in overtime, like it was tough to take, but he said like the way everybody acted, like where it really hurt him, like, oh, we're coming back and we're getting them. He's like, that's what makes you want to be a part of the Yeti is
Yeah,
everybody cares. Like it matters if you know how you play.
yeah, yeah. We the family aspect of the team was huge. I mean, Rodney, perfect example. Al Snow, they drive 3.5 hours. Al Snow was taking the time on a Wednesday for practice to drive 3.5 hours. Like the commitment level from everybody was huge. I mean, you had Kobe and Kyler Johnson up in Akwesasne. Same with Dwight Burrow. They're making the drive down, and Casey Swamp. If you're willing to drive 3.5, 4 hours to play a game, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's cool, so cool. I mean, even our Binghamton guys, our Albany guys,
I,
it's awesome to see that they're willing to make that commitment to come play with us.
I didn't know Al Snow was one of the 3.5 hour commute guys.
Yeah, Al Snow, Al Snow is one of our most dedicated people too. I mean, if you got something going on, he came when we had the parade last year, our St. Patrick's Day parade.
So now
He
it's a
drove three and a half
4-1
hours
lead
to
for
come walk
Space
in the
Lost. Utica
snow-ridden
trying to get back on track. And
parade.
there's a quick shot.
So he has got to be one of the most dedicated people on this team.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you guys had two guys flying from Florida.
Yeah, we had Kate. Yeah, we had Gareth Fabian and Pat Crosby, both willing to fly. I mean, to see that someone wants to do that for this program, it should show. The Utica Yeti are here, and we do exist.
Yeah, I love that. They do exist, and his little hashtag there. I wish Paul
Yeah,
was a little better with social media. I think it really could have taken off.
yeah,
Yeah, I tell you though, he's you got to give him credit. He kind of points people in the right direction, though. I mean, he's got me doing this and talking to all you guys now, and we're yeah, you should see. Uh, so I'm gonna cut this part out, but we made a trophy so that way, like every year, you guys will have a trophy to play for the Northeast. After seeing the Laxnai one, I'll send you the link to the video where me and my buddy made it, and he's running a different YouTube channel. Yeah, it's a sick fucking little like trophy bowl, but we made two. So one is going to be for like the NABLL league, and the other
yeah,
one will be for the Yeti. So like Paul will probably have it or whoever, but that way like you guys will always have the inaugural trophy
yeah.
for it. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
It's awesome. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, so that's what we need to set up a day, probably when open floor starts, where like we need to pick one of the nights that you really get all the guys there. So we'll do like a party or something. I don't know. We got to try to figure out a night to get out there. We can either do it down at Rome, Bag Square, at Tri City. I guess they got a building, but do
Yeah,
like a party for like a Yeti blast and trophy celebration.
yeah. I could definitely would definitely have to get a hold of that. I think Bag Square would be appropriate, being a sponsor. She's a big supporter of us and everything. So I think Bag Square, and they've got great food and beers too. So
Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. Well, all right. So I'll when we get closer to getting it done, because I just finished the base of it because I'm burning in the bottoms. So then I got
yeah,
to epoxy them together. And the NABLL one, I've got to finish I'm going to put lines on it so that way every year you can put whatever team. So we'll
oh,
burn it.
that's
Yeah, it's a wood one too, so it'll be burned into it every year. So that way you just
that's cool.
yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah, the funniest part is my buddy's business that does it. He's called Mahardons. Yeah, it's Mahardon Woodworks. So we're gonna be the BS Mahardon Northeast Trophy. I don't know, some variation of that.
That's awesome that you guys are able to do something like that. I've always like traditional lacrosse. He does a bunch of stuff like that, and it's so cool to be able to see some of the artistic work that I mean I could only fathom of having.
Yeah, I definitely can't. My one buddy, Mike, that does it all. We call it Uncle Mike's Wood Shop. Now we started the channel with him. He does all like mortise and tenon benches and everything. Like he'll build all these benches and beds without a single screw in it. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah, he's
no,
good.
that's impressive.
Yeah, but so we'll get back onto this stuff, I guess. The family aspect of the Yeti, like you said, going out, like even when I would go out to like that Rome for the first time, like everybody just makes sure they go out of the way to make you feel welcome. Like nobody was like, "Who's this fucking weirdo with the camera filming our men's league like practice?" Everybody was like, "Hey, what's up, bud? What you know?" And I was just like, "Ah, try to teach myself something." And it was just like, yeah,
I think that comes from a lot of like the programs we came before this. Lacrosse is, I've always been taught. I mean, lacrosse is a family game, and it's you play for the ones that can't play. And I think that we always want everybody to be a part of it, everything that's going on. So we're always accepting of everybody. Once you're part of the family, especially with I preach it in Big City. As soon as you're part of the family, you're always part of it. So just because you can't be around for a long time doesn't mean you're not part of that family anymore. So, and everybody, even if you do the littlest thing, the ball boys, for example, they're part of our family. They're there for us, and they're there to help us. You're putting in your own time, and we're very appreciative of it. So it's not like we don't want to ostracize anybody, and that just seeing you there on your own time, willing to help us, is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I love it. And we love going out. It's like you said, it's a real family thing. Like even my kids are not into sports at all. My wife was not a sports player. I was just I was into it. And we have so much fun going out and doing the Yeti things. That's why I tell everybody, like if you guys ever have a function, we'll go and probably stream it for yeah, definitely probably next to nothing because we have a as long as it's like the relaxed party atmosphere, like streaming the games with Paul and Bob doing the commentary. That's just like if we were sitting around hanging out, drinking
Yeah.
bullshit and watching lacrosse. So that's yeah.
God bless you guys for sitting there for the 12 hours you guys did. And that's a long time.
Yeah, it gets I don't know how my wife operates the camera for that long. For like the Lax Night tournament especially.
Uh,
Yeah, from 8:30 in the morning till 9:30, 12 or 10
yeah,
o'clock at night.
that's a long time.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
trust me, it doesn't go unnoticed. A lot of the guys are appreciative, especially your streams during our games and the nationals. It was highly talked about, and I mean, many people might not have said it, but I know we're very thankful for everything that you've done for us.
Yeah, no, I love being able to do it. That's why especially the guys that were trying out for the PBLA, I was like, "Hey guys, let me try to get some stuff going and see if we can get you some traction." Now, why aren't you trying out? Just I'm guessing it's a timing thing because
It was a timing thing. I had some stuff going on during the first combine, and I was in season, and I don't know if another combine arises around here, I might take the chance. But I do a lot of lacrosse in season, and it takes away a lot of family time.
yeah.
So my family always comes first. It doesn't matter. Lacrosse is second to it. My wife might say otherwise, but lacrosse is kind of my outlet. My family is who I care about the most. So at the end of the day, I sometimes need to say I got to take some time away from lacrosse to spend some time with my family. So
Yeah, that's essentially what Sully was saying too. He's like, I would love to be able to play for the PBLAs. Like, I just can't personally justify spending that much more time away
yeah,
from my family. Like, something's got to give. You either got to give up playing for the Yeti or give up trying to do that. And it's like Sully said, he goes, I like what we do now. It's just fun. It's awesome that you're streaming it. And yeah,
yeah, yeah. The Eddie are where I want to be at. I mean, obviously, it would be nice to play the PBLA, get paid, but I know what to expect, and I know what is coming out of the Yeti. I don't know what to expect coming into that league and everything like that. And then just to give up the Yeti, I can't do that. The Yeti is in my heart, and like I said, if a tryout or combine arises, I might go attend to see where I could stand at 30 years old in that league. But
yeah. I think you'll be surprised. You're one of the guys out there that like you use your body type to your advantage. And yes, you might not be the fastest guy in the world, but yeah, it's not like you're lacking speed that bad.
yeah,
You've got that short burst speed. You're probably not running marathons, but I mean short
no,
burst speed, you're right up there with most of the guys in the
I'm
league.
deceivingly quick, as my best friend Justin would say. I'm deceivingly quick.
I like it. The so what are the plans for Bank City in the future? You're just going to keep on doing what you're doing with the
I
tournaments and
Yeah, I pretty much that's kind of we're gonna be a tournament team. They're second to the Yeti. I mean, they are the Yeti, but the Yeti comes first, and then that's how it goes when I do rosters. I mean, I have five original guys that started the team, and were the original guys. They've been there with me every tournament, so they get the first choice if they want to play or not. And then I open up the Yeti, and then from there it opens up to everybody. So I don't care about skill. Obviously, would hope you had some kind of box experience, but at the end of the day, as long as you could play, I really don't care. So, I open it up to everybody, and I mean, I hope Bank City could at some point we say have two tournaments going on at the same weekend, and we can put teams in both areas. I hope it can grow that big, but I don't mind it being the size that it is right now.
Yeah,
It's a headache. Like before Lax Night, it was a headache trying to put rosters together for Lax Night, New Jersey, Nashville. They're all back to back. So it was a headache.
yeah. It's and then Prague before that. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what is really it takes to grow these leagues though, is guys like you and Paul that are willing to shoulder the headache of dealing with all the, because nobody wants to do that part. Nobody wants to
No.
call everybody and be like, hey, we need your tournament dues. Hey, we need to make
No.
this tournament. I need to know, are you actually coming, or is this one of those bullshit things where you tell me you're coming and then you don't show up?
Yeah, I hate being naggy, but I know how lacrosse players are. They'll wait till the last second to give you an answer to pay you, and I'd rather you pay me now, and or at least let me know that what your situation is, and we can work with it. I don't ever want to say, well, you can't afford it, you can't come play. We'll figure something out. Not everybody's life is different, and sometimes you might need that tournament a lot more than I really realize you need it, and we'll make it work.
Yeah, no, that's a huge thing for lacrosse, like you said. A lot of guys with the headspace too. It's really over are underrated. You kind of need, especially in jobs like ours, you need that place to blow off steam. You need to
Yeah.
be able to.
I never really realized how big mental health was until I lost lacrosse for a year and I had nothing to do. And I never really realized how important mental health with people are until I experienced it. And now I kind of look at it. I try to look at it a little different. I try to help out anybody and anyone that needs that. Just even a shoulder, someone to talk to. I try to be that person if I can.
Yeah, no, everybody else on the team always talks highly of you too, and that's why I had to wait to get a hold of you, because it was one of those, I knew like us talking about the teams and stuff is going to go on for a while, because like you guys have taken essentially this group of guys and you've traveled all over the world and you've played against the top players in the league, and you guys have given especially young guys like Peter Leota, Konzo being able to go play for the PBLA, Suits being able to play for the PBLA. Yes, that's not like in the cards for you, but the headaches you and Paul have endured to make these uh, opportunities available don't go unnoticed by the
Yeah.
guys. And I just think it's so cool to see it really come back full circle, where all of a sudden I started filming you guys, and the next thing you know, I was like, wait, these guys are all going to get a chance to play now. Oh wait, your only experience playing box was because Paul's crazy and was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, and it's cool seeing like the guys who started last year that have never touched the floor for box across to now. I mean, like Blaine is a perfect example. Blaine has done a complete 180 from last year and has gone from one of our lower offensive players to one of our top offensive players now. And it's so cool seeing just how that 1 year had changed how he plays, and he still gives people headaches with the behind the back stuff. And if he would just shoot, he'd be probably our top scorer.
Yeah, I
I
think
yell at him all the time, and the best was I literally just yelled at him, and he went out and did it again. And I'm like, I was ready to pull my hair out.
yeah, he did it one time at Lax, and I laughed because sometimes it really is the best option, but like he's all alone and runs and jumps and throws it between his legs right into the goalie's pads, and I was like, wait, you thought that was the best? Yeah, whatever. I mean, if it was a goal,
Yeah,
I'd have been playing it on my stuff. I'd have had it
yeah,
posted for goal of the goal of the day.
yeah.
But because it wasn't, we're all looking at him going, Blaine, what are you thinking?
He thinks differently. I'll tell you that, because one time he like shot the ball normal, got the rebound, and then shot it behind like one hand behind his back, and he's like, "That was my only option." I'm like, "No, your option is to run out." Nope, that was my only option. But he's a phenomenal. So athletic, it's unbelievable. Seeing his work going from his lacrosse videos to seeing him do his workout videos is It's impressive.
Yeah. You can tell he spends a lot of time. I didn't realize, so he's a strength and conditioning coach at MB, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I guess it wasn't too surprising afterwards. Like the first time I met him, because it's hard to tell when guys are out there with the jerseys on what they really look like. Because some guys wear
Right.
bigger shoulder, like Neil. Neil has huge shoulder pads, so Neil looks huge, and then you meet Neil, and you're like, you're not that big. But Blaine was
No.
deceptively big. Like I did
Yeah.
not realize how thick Blaine was until I laughed. I think he was sitting there eating like Chinese food about 10 minutes before warm-ups on the side of the fucking like
Yeah.
that was the first time I met him, and I walked over and I was like, "Hey, what's going on, buddy?" He's like, "Nothing." I was like, "Aren't you, you're Statler, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." So they're cramming his food down, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Aren't you about to go out there?" He's like, "Yeah, it's vegetables, right? It should be good."
Yeah. We're not. We don't have the greatest diet as lacrosse players. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
But boy, can he can run, and the kid can't, doesn't stop. He played through he had a shoulder injury in Albany, and he just kept playing through it, and he's got the drive. I'll tell you that.
yeah, it's crazy. And then you watch him do, like you said, the workout videos are always like, "Wow, you're yeah, he
Squatting 500 pounds, 600 pounds, or deadlifts, and I'm like, God bless you, because I don't want to do that.
No, God, no, that looks way. You have to spend so many years to build up to that too,
Yeah,
and everybody looks at it and you're like, oh, I could probably. And it's like if you want to spend, 10 years building up to it or 5 years building up to it, but you're not gonna do it overnight.
yeah, he's got the dedication. I'll tell you that. He's very health mind. Well, I can't say health minded, like you said, Chinese 10 minutes before the game, but he's very he's very conscientious about his working out and his lacrosse. I mean, that's huge for him, and it's nice to know that he is. At the end of the day, he's working out. He's doing something to make his day to get better that day.
Yeah, every day you got to do something. What has it been like for you to get to play like alongside Neil and Alex and Ty, and to not be, it's not like they're the first line and they're completely blowing you guys out of the water, but to be able to be a part of an offense with guys that are that good and have played since they were little kids, and considering you didn't start playing box till less than 10 years ago.
Yeah. So playing with Neil, so I've always heard stories about playing with Neil, how he's like, how smooth he is, and how he's a coach on the floor at the same time. But I never really had that experience until last year when Neil came around, and just the knowledge that comes out of and he tells you and everything. It's. I mean, it drops my jaw. I mean, it's just he sees the plays before they're even happening, and a perfect example was he was like, "Listen, you go out, you pick, and then you repick, and it's gonna be open." And it happened with Cook and Ty Hill, and it was just like they literally just did what he said and go. And the fact that his knowledge is just, I wish I could literally sit there and just let him talk for hours on end, just to hear him and what he has to try to, and just try to be able to take in all of it. It's impressive. I love to just sit there and, like, he'll work with suits a lot, and just to sit there and watch him, even though it's on the left side, and try to still take that knowledge and try to learn it myself. I always try to learn as much as I can. I mean, like you said, I've only been around the box world about 10 years, but the fact that you can learn something every day. Same with Alex Cook is someone I've always looked up to once we started playing it last year. I mean, be able to play with Alex Cook, he's such a big body and he's got such a cannon off of him. It's
Neil to
impressive.
Hill.
And I've always looked up
Cook
to him
with
playing
the
out there, and I try to, any ideas or anything, I always try to bounce
Cook
off of him when we
with the screen
talk and
and he
everything like
scored.
that.
Yeah,
And
his shot is deceptively fast. I mean, he's a big looking guy, but when he shoots, it doesn't look like it's going that fast. And then you'll hear it hit the pads and you're like, "Oh."
yeah, and it's just a sniper too. He'll hit those corners, and you wouldn't think it was going that fast. And you're standing there on the bottom right, and you just barely see it go across your face. It's not even. And Ty Hill is such he when he's at that top point, he leads that offense, and he's just, his stick skills are amazing. And just to have somebody like that at the top allows the off ball game to get open so quick. It's that offense we have, I think, is such a powerful offense. Just having those three out there at the same time, it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's I always laugh because you see like especially when you get a shift when you get those three guys, and then you'll have either you or Blaine or Suits or like another two guys out there with them, and the way they see the play ahead of time, like I said, and they set it up, and the pass is coming before the guy even picks his head up. It's uh, it's a different level, like you said. Ty's stick skills, the way he shoots and passes from everywhere, just blows my mind. Like he looks like he's just standing there, and all of a sudden it's like behind his back pass perfectly to whoever, or now he's shooting in front of him. Yeah, he's got a
Yeah.
his stick is really something special to watch.
That was one of the hardest things for me last year was trying to be able to recognize the behind the back pass from them off the top. And I last year I just could not get it down, and this year I was able. It was nice to finally be able to get it down, but you don't know what to expect. And next thing you know, here comes a behind the back pass, and you're like, oh, well, there it goes.
Yeah, because watching the game, it's I get a different vantage point from you guys, and you can kind of see him set it up, and then he'll all of a sudden run a give and go with Alex down low when you're
Yeah,
finally, because you'll see the defense start cheating too. You know, they're like, okay, we know he's going to throw the behind the back here, try to pick it as he goes, and then he just completely changes it. But it's all from the same. You know, he does everything from everywhere, so you're never waiting for him to like set up, or like you can't
no,
force him to one side. Yeah.
no. Ty Hill definitely doesn't stop moving. His feet are always moving, and I think in box cross that's huge. You can't be flat footed. I mean, I find myself doing it a lot, but Ty Hill he's always moving, and he can run both ways too. And a lot of people don't realize that he can play defense. He showed a lot of it when we played in Oswego when we had lost a couple guys due to injury during the game, and he is a very versatile player.
Yeah.
He's a force to be reckoned with out there too. I mean, his shot is a laser. I love him when he's on the point up top running the offense. I
Yeah.
think he's a great person up there.
Yeah, I think he's yeah, he's so much fun to watch as like a point guard, like you're saying. He's up top running it. And the
Yeah,
I think I cannot believe that not one of those PBLA teams put him on a roster.
I know.
He I mean, as long as you talk to him and he's willing to make all the games, which I'm sure he'd be willing to do something. Like it's I've seen some of the guys on the rosters, and yeah, that's a lot of good guys and there's a lot of talent there. But Ty is, yeah, he's a different level than most guys out there on the floor. The way he, like you said, the speed, he plays offense, defense. He's really a two-way player, and
He is what they want in that league. They want two-way players, and he is a perfect definition of that.
yeah, he is. And I honestly, I would love to see him out there. I wish he kept up with it. I could imagine what he would be doing out there in the NLL, because I think if he stuck with it for a couple more years, he said he only tried it, and then he kind of went on to acting and did some different things. But I I'd be interested to see him getting now that he's playing again competitively with the Yeti. I think in a year or two he could honestly be on a camp there for a couple years, and he's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, I know he's got a lot. He's got his own company he's running now.
Yeah,
4x. I mean, they're great. They've got some of these hoodies though. I'm waiting for him to get me one. There's some really coolest hoodies. But he does the stringing. A couple of our guys, Brandon Davis uses one of his string jobs and everything like that. So he's got a lot going on for him.
yeah, he's definitely a busy guy. I talked to him. We only talked for about a half hour. He had so much stuff going on. It was like, okay. But yeah, he it surprised me that he didn't. But what are you thinking next year for the Yeti as far as get through the winter? I mean, obviously your expectations are to win again, but what do you see your turnover rate being, as far as, do you see you guys now kind of have a pretty core group of guys that you might lose a few guys here and there to travel, but I mean most of your group is pretty
Yeah,
solid.
I think we have a pretty promising group to come back next year. I looking through, I mean, I can't really see us losing too many guys. I mean, I know um you got to plan to lose. I'd say four guys. You just plan, but you know what? You bring in 20 guys to try out, you'll find those four guys that you need to replace. I don't ever want to see anybody leave, but some guys go on to different adventures. I mean, Nate Jobson's working on a team up in Thousand Islands. He's
Yeah.
got the Thousand Island Spirits that he's gonna be running. He still plans to play with the Yeti, so but you always got to plan to lose something could happen in someone's life that you never know, and it could they have to leave. But we I think some youth needs to get brought around. I think some young legs. We're an older team. We're probably the oldest team in the league. If I say, but I'm proud of that though. Look how far we made it for how we're playing against college teams and just young buck teams, and but for an older team, we did very well.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely a few young guys like Leota, you know, studs, couple of younger studs like sorry, even just any age guys like Statler though too. A
Yeah,
couple of those guys to help, especially deep into the long games. And for whatever reason, you guys don't like playing the first quarter. But is that why? Is it just
I
because
don't
the
know what
second
it is.
you're saving up energy for the second quarter? I'm
I
guessing.
don't know what it is. It's just the first quarter was our enemy. It was our kryptonite. We could not play in the first quarter. I don't. It must be that first thing because in Bank City, our first game we always play, we always shit the bed. It could be because they go out boozing the night before real hard, and they're recovering the first game. But that first game, that first quarter for both of them has just never been our forte. We play a hell of a game at the end, but sometimes it's just not good enough.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. You guys like to get out to like a 3 or 4 goal deficit before you wake up and start playing, and that's always tough to get behind.
Yeah, we like to play the underdog role a lot.
Yeah. Now, one of the big things like you saw though is you guys got quite a few goals from your D transition guys, and the it's a fine line between your transition guy and your D guys taking too many shots and not giving your offense a chance to get out on the floor and scoring the goals. And really, by the end of the year, you would start to see like, yes, sometimes Leota would go in and shoot, but he also, I just clipped a highlight when I was doing his the other day, and it's even Bob saying, "Make a smart move with the ball, Leota." He runs down, you can see he thinks about driving to the ball or to the goal, sees Ty Hill coming off the bench, and decides, you know what, that's a much better.
I think the beginning of the year, a lot of our transition guys just saw the net and that's all they saw. But you could literally see it towards the end of the season that they're like you said, Peter, he thought about it and just pulled up and led our offense. There's nothing wrong with transition goals. Transition goals are huge. It gives our offense a little bit of a break and everything like that. But you have to trust the system. You have to trust your offense. There's a reason why we're offensive players. There's a reason why they're defensive players. So, and I think at the end of the year, like those guys started to realize that. Don't get me wrong. Anybody on our defense can score a goal and play offense. I'm not taking away from what they can do, but you got to trust in the offense.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see, you could actually see too with the shot selection as far as they were learning to, like, okay, we aim for this. Oh wait, no, it's not there. Turn around. Snow. Yeah, I mean, but there is just something about Snow and Versace charging down the floor, smashing
Oh yeah,
somebody over, and then scoring. It's like,
the
yeah,
snowplow.
yeah, the snow plow, and then it's snowing in the yard. Yeah, they all
Yeah,
get. Everybody gets pumped when Snow scores. He,
yeah. He's such a great guy too. He's part of one of my original guys for Bank City, and just the off the floor stuff with Al Snow is awesome. He's such a great guy to talk to and be around.
yeah, he's one of those teammate guys. Him and like Mario Diaz. I like
Oh,
to.
I love Mario.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Absolutely love Mario.
It kills me. So he drives from Schenectady, even when he knows he's not dressing, and he still shows
I
up
know.
to everything, and he's holding the water or opening the door, or always asking me if there's
Yeah.
anything he can carry. Yeah, he's a great, one of the best teammates anybody could ever ask for.
Yeah, yeah, he was awesome. Yeah, he was supposed to come to Nashville with us, but he had some other stuff. So we're trying to get him more involved with Bank City. He's going to be going to Delaware with us, I think. So,
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, he'll get some playing time there. It helped Sully out. We used Sully. Sully really didn't get much of an opportunity last year, and now look at Sully. Sully was starting half the game, so hopefully we can do the same thing with Mario.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be. I'll be interested to see what Crosby does if he comes back again next year or not. But like you said, Sully was starting half the games. I said that when I talked to Sully. Like I love watching Crosby, and I really am. You know, he's a very good goalie, and I don't mean to take anything away, but wow, Sully, when they were starting him in some of these games, I mean, and that was one of the things with Crosby that really blew me away too. He came in cold in a couple of those games for one reason or another. Sully gets hurt or Sully's not
Yeah,
playing great, and wow, he could come off the bench.
yeah. Now Crosby, there's a reason why Crosby has been on the Wings roster or been part of their camp. There's a reason for it. Crosby is just his style is different. It throws me off. I can't stand the style. And I tell him that all the time. He sits in that net, and I'm not used to. I'm used to a goalie at least challenging me a little bit, not sitting deep in that net, and it just throws me off. And I yell at him all the time because I can't stand it.
Yeah.
But his ability to start at the beginning or start halfway through is great. It's as if he has been warm the whole time. If he has to come in halfway through, he's a great goalie, and he was a great addition to have. I mean, we lost Kobe Johnson last year, but Crosby was able to fill that void.
Yeah, and I'd love to see him now on the Trenton Terror. That's awesome. But like I
Oh
said
yeah,
to Sully, I mean, wow, that's got to be a great feeling for you. 2 years of playing this position. And same with Mario, only a year, and then
yeah.
you've seen him out at Laxney. And some of it's amazing, and then every once in a while you see you're like, yeah,
Yeah, but you live and learn. And I
yeah,
mean, for the strides that Mario has made since he has started from tryouts, I mean, it's awesome. I can remember just him starting out in our pickup that we were doing, and Paul's like, "Look at this kid. He can't they can't put a goal past him." And then to see how he's growing and growing is awesome.
yeah. When I went to that the Rome Fieldhouse for the first shoot around there, yeah, that was when he was like, yeah, no, I just started. I kind of come out here. Paul lets me borrow the pads, and I'm figuring it out. And I
Yeah,
was like, where are you coming from? And he's like, Schenectady. I was like, wow, you drive all the way. Yeah,
yeah. He is dedicated. That's for sure.
yeah. It's
But now he's got himself a Woody now, so hopefully he'll be able to learn how to adapt with that. That'll be a change from a spoon from.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be a huge change. I wonder now, is he playing anywhere else or just you, the Eddie in Bang City?
I think just the Yeti in Bank City really.
I didn't know if he still played field anywhere, but
I don't. I know he played with Tri City up in Lake Placid. He played field.
yep.
He's a field goalie too, so he plays hockey too, if I'm correct.
Oh, all right.
So I'm pretty sure he's a hockey goalie too. So
Yeah,
he's a goalie heart through and through.
yeah. That's a crazy position. I don't understand it. I can never.
I played hockey. I was a goalie in hockey, but I couldn't be a field goalie. I'll tell you that.
No.
That takes a whole different breed.
Yeah, those guys are nuts out there with no leg pads. You take one of those off the shin, and yeah,
I got enough dents in my shin from just getting slashed there. I can only imagine a ball.
yeah, yeah. Especially on a regular basis, and then to be able to stand in there and know you're probably going to take another one, and
Yeah,
here we go.
no, like I said, it takes a whole nother breed. That's why a lot of props to those goalies because I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So when do you leave for Nashville?
Uh, 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow.
And
Me and
you're
me
flying
and
out.
Davis. Yeah, me and Davis are flying out of Syracuse. We'll get in Nashville. We'll have. There were supposed to be games on Friday, but due to a couple last minute dropouts from teams, they moved the games from Friday to Saturday. So we're gonna have a good day and a half to be able to just see Nashville and actually enjoy Nashville, not just the party. I mean, the lacrosse part and the party part.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see the Country Hall of Fame, so I definitely plan to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. It's neat where lacrosse brings you all over the place to yeah, to see, and then
Yeah,
like you said, the way it works out where it's just like, hey, now we don't have any games. Now you get to kind of check everything out, spend some time.
yeah. I think our plan is that we're definitely going to go see a Nashville Predators game on Saturday night. That'll be fun to see. I mean, I've been at NHL games before, but to see a whole new arena is always cool.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
hoping the Titans or the Volunteers were going to be in town to go see one of those games, but they're both on the road, unfortunately.
yeah, that would have been cool.
Especially like the college going to see the Tennessee Volunteers to play, 100,000 people in the stands.
Yeah, it's got to be nuts.
But the Predators will be good enough for me. It's nice. I've always been a big sports fan, no matter what. So
Yeah. Now, what are you guys thinking as far as how many guys do you have going out to Nashville?
I have 20 runners and 2 goalies.
So, nice full team, and how many Yetis you got going? I know you got Jobson, Leota.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think I got like 7 or 8 of them. There's me, Leota, Nate Jobson, Brandon Davis, Jesse DeMace. Who else? Jimmy Vanu, Tyler Baker's an last year Yeti. Niles Miller.
Niles is the one, he got his shoulder busted in the first game, right?
Yeah, he's the one who in the Albany game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
sucks.
so we got about 8 or 9 Yeti going.
Nice. Yeah,
So
that's
I always try to push the Yeti to come, especially at off season. It gets you. Some guys don't touch their stick until the Yeti season comes back around. So at least if you do one tournament or pick up, you keep your stick in your hand.
yeah, I mean, but tournaments are a little different than the because pickup's nice and yeah, it's cool to get the mess around where you're trying like silly stuff. Like Blaine at pickup is fun to watch. He's just
Yeah,
yeah, and when you don't want to kill him all the time because he's trying it in a game, it makes it, you know.
I tell him I don't care if he does that stuff in the tournament. Get tournaments, get that out of your way now. So when it comes to Yeti season, you go back to your normal stuff.
I love it. I can't wait. I wish I could have hooked it up to gone out there and streamed it. I wish yeah, I
Well,
love
there's Delaware. Delaware's at the end of the February, so that'll be our next one.
there we go.
I think we're gonna, and then yeah, well, the Buffalo one that's Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, that's why I kind of want to find out who's running that and see if I can shoot out there.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's just the Allegheny Community Center itself.
So I should probably just get a hold of them.
Yep.
Yeah, because that I was talking to Rodney last night, and he said a couple of teams were asking him to go out and play, and he wasn't sure if he was just going to go watch or if he was going to jump in. So
So he doesn't unretire for the 17th time.
that's what I said. And I said, "Who you kidding? In 2 years, when your son's done playing, you're going to be playing either for the Yeti or you're going to
Yeah.
be in Can-Am." He's like, "Yeah, I'd probably be with the Yeti again." And
Yeah. His seventh time retiring though. That's what he said at the end of last year. I'm retiring. I said, all right. Then February came around. He was playing in Delaware with the Rochester Bats. I said, I thought you were retired. Yeah, I semi-retired. And then Can-Am opened back up. He was playing with Allegheny for a couple of games. I thought you retired. Yeah, I'm still retired. But Rodney was definitely a personality and a skill on the team that was missed. We have a group chat that we all keep in touch with, and he's part of it. And it'd be nice to have Rodney back.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. So the way I ended up finding him was on Instagram. I just seen Roddy Red Eye. It's a name that kind of sticks out to you. And the way everybody on the team talks about him, you could tell he's one of those I don't know if you want to say characters, or he's one of those guys that just like you meet him once or twice and for the first time and you're like, oh, all right, I remember this guy. He really
Yeah,
seems to, yeah, big offensive righty. He said he played long stick midi.
he did.
He,
Yeah, which you wouldn't expect. Like you said, it's incredible to see how like a guy like Rodney, he's a great offensive player. So you would have thought he played attacker or midi, but he's actually a deep pull in field lacrosse. It's cool to see that. Jimmy Fay, he's a phenomenal pull too on the floor on the field. So it's cool to see how guys translate to field and box and everything like that.
yeah, it's definitely it's weird to like you said to find the goalies that play attack and the guys the defense that play attack. You're kind of like, huh. And then the more you learn about the sport, you understand it. You're like, oh, it is really two different sports. So it's a whole different set of skills where you don't need as much of the cardio that you need in the field.
I yeah, I much rather the 30-second shifts.
I just laughed that you're a Fogo there and you don't even take face-offs for the Yeti very often.
Nope,
Sometimes
nope.
I'll see you out there, but
Yeah, I will be the backup if they need it, but I'd much rather stand up and straight and not have to.
yeah,
The, I'd rather put all my effort into offense rather than the face-offs. But they know if I need the face-off, I can.
yeah. Yeah, that was one thing. So I didn't realize who Rodney was, and when I was talking to him, I found out he played and he was wearing what Nick Farrell's jersey, I think, for the for the Yeti, because that's I could not figure out who that guy was. I knew it wasn't Nick Farrell because I could see the hair too, and I was like, who is this guy? And then when I was talking to him last night, he said something, and I was like, oh, all right, that makes sense because I had no idea who he was. And then there was another guy who was Hammond. I don't know if that was his actual name. He was wearing the 33 jersey.
The black one,
Yeah,
that was he a really big guy?
yeah.
That's Junie Buffalo.
He just.
He's only 18 years old.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
He's a
He
fucking
was
monster.
Yeah, he played with us for Bank City. He was one of my guys for Bank City. Yeah, he's not even he's hasn't even graduated high school yet. Yeah, Junie Buffalo. Trying to get him recruit him to Herc for, and he actually plays attack on infield.
Really?
Yeah,
And he was playing D for the Yeti, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's okay. Yeah, so we're definitely talking about the same guy, but yeah, because it was those two guys. I didn't know who they were, and I hadn't seen them. So where is he? Is he a local guy or?
No, he's from Salamanca.
Oh, yeah. So you probably aren't going to end up with him.
He might. He is. I think cousins or his net. He is his uncle is Al Snow.
Oh, so
So, so we have the connection there.
well, that's so Salamanca. That's where like out by where Rodney is too, because that's at
Yep.
3.5 hours. So they're all the same group of guys that are.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, for the Lax night, Junie rode with Al to come here. So I think we could. I think Junie would be huge asset for the Yeti. So
Yeah, I just can't.
especially if he can get on the Herc team.
Well, if he could get on the Herc team, plus, I mean, if he just keeps getting the experience, if he's in the area and then can play the pickup with you guys, a kid that size that's fairly athletic is wow.
Oh yeah, he can run. He showed that he can run.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through and watch. I'm getting ready to. I'll be clipping your stuff here pretty soon. Like yours are easy because I could just clip through the highlights. The hard guys to go through for the defense because you got to watch the whole game, and you
Yeah,
never really clip the defense. Then I'm watching like, oh, look at how he slid here. Look at how yeah,
yeah.
and it,
Unsung heroes.
yeah, and those are the things I like to do. It's just very time consuming as far
It
as
is.
your guys' are nice and easy, where it's like I just clip through the highlights and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No, our defensive players don't get the credit that they're due. They they keep us in the game. You know, they protect the goalie and they're the ones who get us the ball back. So they're definitely unsung heroes down there. I'll tell you that.
and it's the way they play, Coach Tony there, Johnny. I'm not sure who runs the defense mainly, but the way that it's set up with that pressure, keeping the shots to the outside, and it really like it's weird because it really lends itself to like Sully's style of play, but also with that backdoor cut, that's where you really see Crosby being able to fly across because he
Yeah,
stays so low. So yeah, I always find it interesting to see the way the defense plays versus the two goalies, and that real pressure style of forcing the hard shots from outside. If they take the quick shot, that's where it's like okay, Sully with the angle is. But if they beat the guy out there, now they're coming in essentially on the breakaway, and you don't necessarily want your goalie so far out. So it's interesting to see the way it plays out. I love the coaching strategy and the way that's my other favorite thing about the Eddies is it gives you guys such a huge advantage over some of these teams in the NABLL where they don't have a guy standing up looking overhead who's not worried about getting back out on the floor to make sure he gets playing time, and you guys have two that are standing up with the bird's eye view.
yeah. The having coaches in general are such a huge perk, but then to have Tony Sorcy and John Lehman are just a step above that. Those two as coaches are great at what they do. Their knowledge is there. Their commitment level is there. I mean, Tony runs his own business and he still makes the time to come to our practices. And John's got a family and kids and he works and he still makes that effort and everything like that. But the knowledge that those two bring to practice and bring to our games and our offense and our defense is what put us over every other team in the NABL in our division for sure.
Yeah, hands down, you can see it because being able to make those micro adjustments and having that kind of because that's really what it was is you guys were really getting beat hard in the transition at the beginning of the game, and then you had him making sure they were yelling at you guys and telling you, hey, where's our safety valve? Why aren't you guys running out like you're supposed to? And that
Yeah,
really turned things around.
coming out of a captain's mouth, some guys will listen, but to have it come out of the coach's mouth will is what puts the foot down, and guys are like, oh shit, all right, we really need to start following the direction we need to go. Tony and John bring a system to us. Everybody at the end of the season, you can see it. They bought into the system, and that's what got us to where we did.
Yeah, yeah, no, because that's yeah, and that's the one thing where the Yeti I think getting longer into tournaments, and their system doesn't necessarily benefit you guys too well. Like for deep, it's great for your games, and especially when you're playing. But deep into a tournament, you guys are kind of old for that pressure system. It works awesome when everybody can play it, but
Yeah,
day on Sunday, if everybody's been drinking for 2 nights, you
yeah,
you start to see that pressure system fold.
yeah. We that's why I try to, especially at tournaments, I try to run 20 guys. It gives guys the opportunity if they want to go out and enjoy the nightlife, they can. I still have will have guys that will can play. So or injuries. I mean, everybody. You never know when you're gonna get injured. So that's why I like to run 20 guys. I mean, I don't like to take away guys playing time, but trust me, we're all some old guys, some young guys. Everybody will get their run in, and especially on full length floors. Like it was funny when Phil Axe and I, some of the Banks City guys were like, "Wow, we got so many guys, we're not getting the runs on the small floor." We get to the big floor, and I got guys puking on the bench. Uh, so it was funny to see the transition from floors. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was cool. So how much smaller was the floor? I didn't realize they were different size.
I didn't know how much smaller, but it was the difference. You definitely can tell the difference.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I like the shorter floor. Trust me, especially after going out the night before. But it was a significantly different run. I'll tell you that.
that's cool.
With it, go on.
I was just gonna say, so with the floors inside the odd, have you seen the size of the rinks yet?
I have not. I've only seen pictures of some of the local youth hockey tournament that just went on this past weekend.
Gotcha, because that's what I wonder if so the odd I don't think is like Olympic style, but if they have a rink in there that's huge, that's got to be huge for a box lacrosse team to play in.
Yeah,
That's something most
it's gonna
people,
be interesting.
yeah, people don't think about different rink sizes.
Yeah, trust me. Us bigger guys love the shorter ones. I'll tell you that. I think the Og was perfect because we were used to playing on that, and we knew what our conditioning level had to be, whereas other teams didn't realize what they were coming into. Whereas when we went, I mean, Syracuse, I think, was just a slightly shorter floor, but it was pretty much the same. I mean, in our area, we all played pretty much on a universal floor, so there wasn't much change. But when we got to Columbus, we had the conditioning level there. I think we had the conditioning level over a lot of teams. I just think the youth legs got is what kind of beat us.
Yeah, 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 like you said, the youth legs, and I mean, you guys were kind of banged up, missing some of your goal scorers, your defensive guys were getting pretty haggard down,
Yeah, we were beat up going into that.
and it was still a pretty good showing. Plus, it was you guys had just went to Prague the week before, so I mean that's
Yep.
yeah, all things considered, that was a pretty good showing out there. And I don't care what they say, the way it works is if you win the third place game, you're third place.
Yeah, we're honorary third. I stand by that. We beat the third place team.
That's right. That makes you third. I don't care how they do it. Well, maybe
Yeah,
I'll write that on the bottom of Paul's trophy. I'll
yeah,
honorary third nationals.
yeah. We did the same thing when we were in Prague. We technically the way we got bumped out, we ended up playing for sixth, but we beat every team up into third place. So we claimed the honorary third.
That's awesome. That's what happens with you wait so long to get going. Because that's the one thing though is like if the game goes into overtime, you got to feel fairly confident that the Yeti are now at full swing. They're finally warmed up and ready
Yeah,
to.
yeah. And that was the nice thing about, or that's the nice thing with Columbus or tournaments. When you play multiple games in the same day, we stride as we keep going. You know, a lot of teams decline as they keep going. I feel like we actually kind of peak.
Yeah, you peak, and that's where you really start to see your systems kind of play out because you don't have 50 guys out there fighting for floor time where you've actually got a system put in
Yeah,
place. Guys know when they're playing. The players aren't the one deciding, who's going in and out the doors. You're letting the coach make those decisions, which is huge because when you've got guys that especially aren't considering any of your D or transition guys want to show that they should be playing offense sometimes. Not always, but you get a lot of guys that feel that way, and they're running up and down the floor, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, your D's completely burned out. Versus you guys, towards the end, you could see Versace was really starting to come into his groove later in those days, and as everybody else was worn down, that's where you've really seen like him and Snow, who you wouldn't, when you look at those two guys, you don't think conditioning, but the way they play, their style, it's so smart. They save their speed, and
Yep, they
yeah,
know when to go full board, and they know when to then when they don't have to, and it's uh, everybody meshed together. Everybody had a skill set that they brought to that floor that just meshed, which was awesome.
yeah, I can't wait to see what next year brings for the Yeti. I'm hoping a little bit stronger showing in nationals, but
Yeah, who knows? Hopefully, we could get a run at trying to get nationals up here this year.
I I'm really hoping so too. That would be amazing and make it a lot easier commute for all of us, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But it kills me when like US Boxla does shit in San Diego. I mean, yeah, it's cool and I get you want to expand the game, but when you're talking about trying to get people to afford to go out there, I mean, that's the problem with being over here is you've got some teams that this is farther. But for the most part, most of your teams are on the East Coast.
yeah. I mean, regardless, any of your East Coast or West Coast teams are going to be traveling, no matter where it is. If it's here, if it's Florida, if it's Maine, if it's even Texas, centrally located, they're still going to have to fly and travel. Your Pacific Northeast teams or Northwest teams, they're going to have to travel.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just their location, it's their geography. It's
Yeah.
but at that point, then you realize what your commitment level is, and then you realize next year, all right, do we try to keep some guys that we know are committed and keep moving on from the ones that aren't, or what do you do?
Yeah,
So
it's interesting the way because this league you got to think about things like that because like you said, you're having guys show up and pay to play, but you're also you really need a commitment level that proves you've seen some of the teams out there. I mean, like I love the Collar City guys, they're close. I really hope that team makes it. I try to pull for them as much as I can, but that's a not a good showing. And
no, no, and I mean, unfortunately, Justin had some stuff go on where he wasn't able to make it. But I mean, Justin runs a good program. Justin's actually part of Bank City. He plays with us, so it's cool to kind of bring both those squads together. But I always hope I don't ever want to see a team fold.
yeah,
So I hope he's able to kind of get some things in the line and he's able to get his team up and running again. Unfortunately, I mean, traveling in general is tough money wise. I mean, it's especially in today's day and age and the economy. But at the same time, if you don't know if you're going to be able to travel, I think you need to say, hey, listen, we're going to step aside because we don't think our team's going to travel. Let the next place team travel. Maybe they could travel a little better than you can.
yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping Collar City. Hey, the problem is like Tri City. You guys had 20 or 40 years of people
Yeah.
like a community built together, and Justin's pretty new in the stage, and
Yeah.
that's he needs a
He's doing
lot
a
of.
great job. Though.
Yeah,
He's doing
no,
a great job. I think one thing he needs to do is go towards the local colleges and try to hit them up. And some of the kids, like when I was in college and I went to Buffalo, I stayed in Buffalo for the 4 years. I didn't come home. So he needs to try to, I think, utilize the college kids that aren't going home and those college kids that play lacrosse and try to get them in his program. I think that'd be a huge asset for him.
yeah, I'm hoping he's able to. It's tough because but with all the colleges, you would think getting them involved, even if you don't get them on your team, just to have the pickup
Yeah.
talent level to start getting more guys. But I mean, I'm only 40 minutes up the road, and I had to tell one of the kids that just graduated about the team. And the only reason I even knew about the team was because of Paul. Otherwise, I would have had no clue what Collar City was.
Social media is huge. It's not everything, but it's huge. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, in order to get your name out, you gotta be active and you gotta post frequently on social media.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not the best at it myself, but I try to remember to post it. But that's the thing is you gotta stay on it enough that people are interested, so it pops up in
Yeah,
your feed. But trying to get into the kids markets too is tough because you got to get a 16, 17-year-old kid's attention so he starts to learn about the team. Then he can
yeah,
find a youth program to get involved in. And yeah, like the
yeah.
kid.
Youth programs are difficult we saw that when we first started up with our youth program when we were at Kennedy. We saw kids. You have to start with the basics because some kids have never played lacrosse, so you got to start with the basics. So then we were losing the attention of the older kids that have been playing for a while and already have that skill level. So you got to kind of find a happy medium in that when you do those youth programs, especially when you're first starting out. And I think the Yeti lost a couple, but then in the end we gained a lot more. So I think you just kind of got to find the happy medium. And at the end of the day, if you start to see the kids are bored, let them shoot on the net.
Yeah.
That'll get any kid's attention right there.
Yeah, especially if you have a goalie. Coming up with goalie pads, it seems to be the big pain in the ass. It's expensive. None of the problem is to really start a league, you need a minimum of 2 sets, and then you got to
Yeah,
hope that you can find a goalie that size to play. So it's
we got lucky for our upcoming. We've had a couple people donate a couple sets of pads, so our goalies are gonna kind of have some equipment that they're gonna be able to use, which will be nice.
yeah, we had a one of those plastic goalies, not the shooter tutor that straps to the net, but we had a
No,
sand. Yeah,
yeah, the blue one.
yeah, that was all we were able to come up with for our like I call us a youth program, but there's no boarding. There's no it's different. We're just kind of teaching the kids, trying to get them used to the touches because one of the big things I think with box is the amount of touches, and it's not just because when kids miss the pass, but having a rebound is such a huge thing. You know, a 30-second shot clock too makes it go so much faster. And then with a rebound on top of it, you have so many more ground balls that people are picking up. Plus, when they shoot it, if it goes out back, you don't give it to the other team. You have to fight for the ball.
That's why I think box lacrosse is so huge for kids, for college age kids that especially these ones that are doing like that UCBLL. The ball moves so quick, and like you said, the rebounds, the passes, everything is at a blink of an eye. Like especially if you go watch like the NLL, you go watch a game like that. That ball does not sit in somebody's stick for more than a few seconds, and it's just moving. And the speed of the game is huge. The physicality, and I think that's a great thing that you're not letting the kids work on the hitting will come. That's easy. You run into somebody. It's the other stuff that you need to work on.
Yeah.
I think that's a good. It's a great way to work with them because the hitting part's secondhand. Anybody can throw a body around.
Yeah, and then it's because that's the hard part with the kids too, is you don't want to introduce it too early, but you do have to introduce it as they get older, like you said, because it's a huge part of the game, and you got to teach them to be able to keep their cool, how to. And the other big thing is like it's really part of the sport though, is you're trying to draw that defender. Okay, come out here and hit me. Come out here and hit me. And now he's
Mhm.
taking a couple extra steps, and now you've got him out of position. So really learning how to bait the guys, and yeah, it's all
Yeah,
part of it, like you said, but just a later part, you know, to try to pick up on.
yeah. But any youth program, any program there for youth is just a huge step in the right direction. It don't matter if you're just there playing catch and letting them shoot. It's getting them out there, getting a stick in their hand, and letting them play is always a huge step in the right direction for kids. I mean, look at any sports program; they're dwindling right now,
Yeah.
and it's so crappy to see. I hate seeing it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with the way that these programs are dwindling down. And a lot of people blame it on, because there's so much stuff. And I think that's part of it. But I think a lot of this too is like the way they have done competitive sports with these kids, and they force these tournament teams on kids so young. You're losing so much interest because you take a 12-year-old kid and you cut him from a whatever team. I don't care what team it is. You cut him from whatever team. Well, in 2 years, that 12-year-old kid is now a 14-year-old kid who's finally grown into his body, or a 16-year-old kid who's starting to grow into his body. Well, you cut that kid and made that kid hate that sport now because the kid only understands I'm not good enough to play. Some kids take it personal and they go in and they put the work. But with the amount of things that people can choose to put in at that age, most little kids aren't going to put in that work. I'm not talking about if you cut a senior because he didn't make
But
it.
yeah,
I mean, but your youth programs up to modified in school and stuff, and the way they treat these teams, you're turning off so many kids, and then by the time they get to varsity, you don't have enough kids, and it's really a I don't know. It goes. Our local school sucks as far as their athletics program. They run the worst athletic program I've ever seen. They're the yeah, It's garbage. But it's all because like so many of their coaches, they've got a handful of good coaches, but most of them are such assholes, and that's how they coach. They don't have a good style. Their modified coaches don't teach kids the right way. They don't teach them the respect for sports in general, and it's just such a disappointment. I don't even like. I'm now debating if I'm going to get involved with my rec department in my town just because I so despise some of the older like people in the
Yeah.
that are involved in it that I might just stay in the other town I'm in and coach. It's such a shit show. And I feel bad too because they've got a guy that's starting to program, really seems to know a lot about lacrosse. He's played all over the place. I was like, yeah, I want to help. And then, like, you just get reminded of the politics of it. And yeah, like listening to the way their football coaches talk to the players and stuff. And I'm like, what is the matter with you? Well, and the problem is like they talk shit about their players to other kids. And it's like, what are you
Yeah, you
doing?
can't do
Like, that's
it.
not, yeah, that's not the way to raise a team. That team,
No.
yeah, yeah, they really like it's weird. The whole athletics program here is such a shame. There's no like and it's bad too because Hudson Falls when I was a kid used to have some really good sports teams. And like their wrestling program is still fairly strong, but it's because they've got somebody decent running the youth program.
Yeah. You got to be able to reach out, but at the same time, like you said, you can't be running your mouth about a fellow teammate or his teammate to another kid. That's not, because then that kid's going to grow to not to feel the same way about that kid. And then it just becomes animosity and
Yeah.
a shit show.
Yeah, no, I've seen so many kids that don't stay with sports in our school, and it's like, wow, what a shame, man. Some of those kids were really athletes, and they just get so disgusted by all the sports that they're just like, yeah, I'm out. And then they're like, why don't we have enough kids for these teams? Like they won't even let our varsity lacrosse team play on the football field because they're afraid they're going to ruin the football field. So they make them play on this little shitty side field.
Come on.
I swear to God. And it's hilarious. So like you would think it's like some big, like amazing field that I don't know, and it's just a high school football field, and they won't even let the varsity team play on it. They were talking about for senior night or something, they were gonna maybe really let them, and that's when I was like, I won't do well in this program because I'm gonna tell you all how fucking stupid you are.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes you need someone that's actually going to speak the truth, and you can't always go in bullheaded, but you can always go in knowing what you're talking about and just telling the truth.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need some a program needs somebody like that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not dealing with them. No, but I get what you're saying, and if my kids weren't so close to being out of school and were involved in sports, I would definitely. But
Yeah.
my kids are not into the sports program, so I'm not wasting my time. I did all the youth sports growing up with them, and now they're into music and art and stuff. So,
Good for them.
although my daughter might play lacrosse this year, so
Yeah.
if she ends up deciding, yeah, if we went and got her a stick the other day, she's all pumped up. She's been walking around the house cradling, breaking stuff, all that fun stuff. But yeah, her first year she decided she wanted to pick up a stick. Like our kids have always played throw and catch with boy sticks though, so it was weird for her to have a girl stick, but she's starting to get used to it.
At any age, as long as they pick up a stick, it's a stride in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, that's I laugh too. So my son can actually play. And the one year our school was going to have a JV team, they didn't end up having enough kids. But I bribed him. I was like, "I'll buy you the rest of your computer parts as long as you go out and play," because he's always known how to throw and catch just from growing up with us, as we play catch a lot, like on the beach and stuff. And yeah, he went tried out. They ended up not having the team. He got his computer tower and never played again since. Yeah, he was pumped. He was like, as soon as the coach announced there was no team, he goes, "Well, it's not my fault, Dad. I tried."
That's a win-win. He still made the effort and tried, and
Yeah.
he got what he wanted.
No, and it worked out perfect because of that computer tower. He's the one that taught me how to do this, all this stuff that we're doing. So,
That's cool that he was able to teach you.
yeah, he's way smarter than I am. It's not even close. Now, your kids are quite a bit younger, though, right?
Yeah, my oldest Elena is 3, and my youngest she'll be 10 months in a couple days.
Yeah, and that's always awesome. We love seeing like when your daughter's out there and they run down to see you guys. And
It don't matter what part of the yard, when she yells, you can hear her. Trust me, her voice echoes, and it's the coolest thing. Like I give a lot of respect to my wife because she chases her all over that odd, and I can be on the bench, and I can see her across the arena, and then I get off from another shift and I look and they're at the other end. And my wife's a lot of respect for her just having to chase that one around. She did it last year. She had to do it this year. She liked Rome a lot better because Rome was a lot smaller.
Yeah, Rome's a little easier to corral them. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it. After the game, like you had all the kids that were sitting on the sidelines, and it was cool because then like your guys' kids got to see, how excited the other kids were too. That was a cool,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
for like Alex and Ty's, whose kids are a little bit older. That's like a really cool, like, yeah, look at that.
I love both those kids. They're awesome, and they've been there every day. When Alex and Ty are there, they're there, and it's cool to see that they're how close to the program they are, even though they're not playing, but their fathers are, and how much they want to be involved. And it's cool.
Yeah, no, I love the whole little Yeti like clan, I call it. You basically got
Yeah,
all your guys' kids that are there, and like Jimmy Fay shows up with his troop, and
yeah.
yeah,
The entourage, or yeah, the entourage.
yeah, I like it, the Yeti entourage. But all right, unfortunately, I got to run, but it's been fun.
Yes. All right, Greg.
All right, thanks a lot, and like I said, I'll get a hold of you when we get a little closer. I'm not telling Paul what the party's going to be for the trophy, and then we'll kind of
That's fine.
finish up the Yeti doc and run
Yeah.
from there.
All right.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate
All
your
right.
time.
Later, Beach.